Okay, this is my president vlog. If you're watching this 33 years from now, great. You can see what my policies used to be. Hopefully I'm competing with a bunch of awesome young people who have the same core political doctrines as me. Hopefully I've convinced them of those things, but I don't think the Democrat Party has enough pro-life people in it. I'm here for the little guy. I love welfare, I love food stamps, I love UBI. Universal Basic Income it's called. And I also want our laws to be consistent with the big laws and the little laws to be consistent. In other words, if you have a law, if abortion is going to be legal for because of choices and freedom and agency, then we're also going to be having sports betting as legal, because sports betting is betting on someone throwing a football, and we have those little unsanctioned pool parties up at the squares and stuff. And if you're afraid that your husband and wife is going to bet too much, put it in your marital vows, no gambling. And the moment they start gambling, you can divorce them because they broke the marital vows. I don't know. Marry people that aren't crazy. But if we're going to have, what we have now is abortion is legal, and then the sports betting is a state issue. And we have this, anyways. I've played poker as a 18-year-old kid, and at Jackson, and then 21, and then I got sick of it. I don't really like poker anymore. I do, but I don't. It's like, get 2 cards, and it depends who you're playing with. If you're playing with some fun people, you want to figure them out. It can be intimate. If you got a close friend, you're playing deep stacks, it can be a fun game. But I prefer apples to apples. Apples to apples is my favorite. But yeah, so my policies here, I got to run through them every once in a while. Anyways, especially when I'm feeling paranoid, it's a good way to get words out, and it can help wash away that paranoia. And I don't work out, so if I'm not working out, I have all this cooped up, and it actually makes me feel a lot better, and the paranoia has nowhere to go. If I'm talking about being president, it's like the paranoia calms down. When I was in the hospital recently, one of the things that got me through it was fantasizing about president. And it's not like everyone in the quorum of the 70 wants to be the president, because if that was the case, I couldn't compete with that. But right now we have people that have a bad reputation, known for lying, political careers, but the barrier to entry is 35 years old, 21 years in America, and born in the USA. And that's what I have. So I already have enough to compete with them. Now, if this video is, inspires people to have a bunch of righteous people running, well, okay, then I don't need to. I won't need to, but I want to be ready for it. And I don't want to run sooner because I won't be ready. And I don't want to run later because I'll be a little bit too old. But yeah, I just I want to get my ideas out there. Worst case scenario, well, I don't want to talk about the worst case scenario. Beautiful day outside. Beautiful day. That's why we can get away with high taxes in California. If you guys were wondering, it's because of the weather. No, everyone overlooks that. That, and people are here for the weather, and other people are here because other people are here for the weather. So there's just more people. That's why it's a great state. We're not the most moral state, but we are the most beautiful, weather. For the most part. I mean, there's some other states with good weather, but whether or not you want to vote for me or not, I do have an exceptionally dynamic way of life. I like change. If it ain't broke, break it. And I just, oh, no, am I gonna walk here? See, there's a girl walking her dogs. Do not evangelize. That is not an evangelism spot. 2 dogs. Oh, you just say, Lord, help her in her salvation. With my theology, depending on my theology, it affects the way I evangelize. A lot of Christians believe that their theology is what saves you, so you need to, God's going to see you no matter what you do. When I have a more lenient LDS theology or like a universalist theology in my heart, then I'm more live and let live. And I don't, I guess I'm not as aggressive with ramming my theology down somebody's throat. When I lay down and I see God, He has everything taken care of. It's not up to me to save the world. Ironically, that's when I want to become president. Okay, well, 6 crows doesn't mean anything. It's never meant, 6 crows has never meant anything. I remember there used to be a table right here. And I was explaining to Dongju this crow, and he's like, okay, crows crow, like a few people were like crows crow, and then I was very sensitive because it's like, it's not just the crow crows, but it's also like, I feel like it's from God too. And then I was telling him it crowed, and then he's like, yeah, in real time, he's like, yeah, I'm not a psycho. I was like, okay, well, it's interesting. Okay, so he's gone now. Once I repented of the crows completely, I stopped hearing them, But I was like, if I'm really sensitive to the crows and I think they're saying something, that God and the devil will compete over who gets what crows where. And now I'm not going to speculate on like the mini games they're playing in the background. They play a mini game and they have a big bet going on. The winner gets to send Eric a crow. Because I'm made to worship. The devil loves being worshipped by humans because they look like God. They look like they're image bearers of God. And it feels like they're being worshipped by God because God loves us more than He loves Himself. You could argue that. Even though we're not as worthy. Dieter F. Uchtdorf gave a paradox of man. We're so little compared to God, but we mean everything to Him. It's kind of like how you have a child. My dad, out of the womb, he idolized me, and he loved me more than his wife immediately. And I said, well, that is not a little much. But he didn't have the same feeling for the second one. There was a comedian who did that skit, kind of a fat guy. I thought it was a great joke when I said it, but when he said it, I didn't like it anymore. He was throwing his second kid on the bus, and everyone was laughing. It was like he had copied my joke, but yet I didn't like it anymore. I didn't talk to him. He made it up on his own. But I'd say 80%. Well, I don't know what the percentage is, but a big percentage of the population, they're the type of people that don't really like to compare things, or they say they don't, and they will love everything the same. And they say, well, if they don't, there's too much thinking. And sometimes I'll force them to compare. God likes comparisons if He's winning. He doesn't like comparisons when He's losing. So Matthew 10:37, if you don't love God more than your family, you're not worthy to be His disciple. There's a comparison. God versus family. I just had a thought about someone. I don't want to talk about it. I'm good. See? Better. So, number 1 policy, pro-life. Nationwide. Pro-life nationwide. Number 2, micro UBI. $69 for the meme. It's like a meme number. $69 a month, or $888 for the year, and you get it, and then you can you get it in your ID card. It's so you can swipe your ID card, and I had this idea, it keeps coming up in my head. I think you should be able to sell it to whoever you want at any time, so anyone can use anyone's card. But if you lose your card or if you sell it, you can actually sell it and then request a new card. So it discourages people from selling it. But I want freedom there. But also, if you lose your card, you can just get a new one, and then it cancels the old one. And I guess it sets up. I guess it sets up scams, right? But like, if you give someone your card for, let's say, $500, and then they get 10 pumps out of it, and there's no expiration, the money just keeps going up. It's an interesting idea because UBI is so good. It hurts the rich. It helps the middle class a tiny bit, and then it really helps the poor a lot. And that's the type of thing that I like. It's been tried in other countries. People are happier with it. You can feel the love from the government. I'm someone who is proudly on food stamps, and not as proudly, because I don't tell everyone this, but I'm actually on disability myself. And I'm on disability. I have a hard time working. I get fired for weird reasons. My mind's all over the place. I've put in applications. I'd like to go out and do it and try it and go for it, you know. But with president, it's like, worst case scenario, I go crazy and it's just super entertaining. It's like, people are like, oh, he's going crazy. It's like, well, at least I'm not bored, because politics is so boring for a lot of people. What's my third policy? Polygamy. Kind of funny one, but I think the reason why polygamy was outlawed is because it was outlawed by the government, and we synchronize LDS Church and the government as talked about in Romans. So I'm thinking, if we're gonna have fornication be legal, if you want to ban fornication, that would be wild. I don't think anyone would go for it, but maybe if we advance as a society. Or you can have fornication legal or illegal based on the state. If you ban fornication in at least one state, okay, fine, no polygamy. But if we have fornication completely legal for 18 and over, which is what we have right now, then we should at least allow righteous polygamy, and polyandry. Multiple polygamy, or multiple husbands, multiple wives, if people like it. They have it a little bit in Utah, although I think it's a fine or illegal or something. But that's just something that I thought of. I think it's pretty funny. And that way the righteous can produce more babies as well. And that's what the world needs, is more children. Depopulation is not good. Population is good. So baby is it's another pro-life policy, because we're producing more lives. And I also want to pay people to send their babies off for adoption, to subsidize people who are pregnant, and it will keep them from getting an illegal abortion. So my fourth policy is also pro-life, which is the first one is pro-life, second one's pro-money, third one's pro-life, pro-marriage, and the fourth one is pro-life. It's pro-life in the sense that I just lost my train of thought. What am I saying? That's what Trump says. What am I saying? And I'm gonna try to take the best from every politician, study them a little bit. I'm not gonna study politics, because let me macro. I have this idea. No one votes on policy anyway. They vote on who's the best looking and best speaker, taller, whatever. And I'm tall. I am 6'3", which is probably a little bit under average, but that's okay. I'm probably going to be competing against people that are taller than me. Maybe not. Democrats a little bit shorter. Republicans tend to be a little bit taller, but I'm going to have a dynamic cabinet. So my policies belong to the American people. I've always been very easily influenced. I was literally taken out of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, regardless of how I felt and how amazing everything felt, and the doctrine, how good it was and everything, because someone was passionately ramming a simpler but true doctrine of grace alone, faith alone, Christ alone, whatever. Faith alone, repentance is works, and he made it work with Ephesians 2:8-9 loops and all the Protestant loops and all the words. And I read it myself, and I was like, yeah, I guess that is true. He has a point. And it really took me out of the church because I couldn't really hold to both. And I still denied the creeds, but because the creeds are a bunch of nonsense. But like, I feel like I'm more of a Bible. I love the Bible more than the church. And this guy is like showing me, yes, it's in the Bible. So then as I grew up and got smarter, I realized, okay, there's actually more to the Bible than this simple thing out of context, ripping it down your throat. But the idea is, someone was able to take me out of my religion using the Bible out of context and yelling, basically. I'll think of it like that. Now, my cabinet is going to start off as 15. I would like it to be 14, but I think it's 8 in the cabinet, but let's just do 8, whatever it is. 8 it. And there's going to be 8 of them in there. Then they're all going to be righteous, and they're all going to start off, ironically, as pro-lifers, so they're almost certainly going to be Republican, which is hilarious because I'm a Democrat, but my cabinet's going to be Republican. But every month they're going to vote out, there's going to be a very complex system on who gets dumped, but someone's going to be dumped every month, and a new guy's coming in, and the guys coming in will be 100 choices from the American public, Twitter poll, blockchain poll, hopefully at the time blockchain, because it's going to be very tech heavy at that point. She has 58. And basically they're going to give me 2 guys, and it could be 2 wicked guys, it could be celebrities, 2 famous guys, and then they're going to talk to each other, and if they agree on who wins, that person goes in. But if they disagree, then we do a debate, a political debate, and a fun debate, personality debate too. And then we all vote, and the American people vote on who wins that debate, and then the winner of the debate goes into my cabinet. And then they're now in my cabinet. At the end of the month, we vote off another person. So 12 months, there's going to be 12 in and out. By the time there's 8 months, it's going to be a completely new cabinet potentially. And it could be all Democrats. And at this point, now I have 8 puppet master strings in my cabinet. That doesn't go for everything else. But I'm going to have my VP, which is hopefully going to be some big boy. I don't know, big boy, somebody fantastic, better than Charlie Kirk. But I want another thing I was thinking of was make an executive order that if you have bipolar schizophrenia, you don't get the nuclear codes, because I might not even get elected with the schizophrenia. And the other thing is, I want to fork off my responsibilities so I want to make a new office called the Commander-in-Chief, and he can get half my salary, I guess. He gets the 200K and I get 200K instead of the 400 or whatever the salary is there. He can take some of my salary, but the idea is he's going to be responsible for who goes to war, and I'm going to be responsible for chief citizen. So if I need to go, and even foreign affairs, I can go over to their countries and talk to people. I have 326 Bible verses memorized, which is going to help me talk to the American public, use chapter and verse, front load the address. The technology people can just type it in. It also saves a lot of time. So I could just say James 1:17 and then move on. And I can mix Bible verses and stuff like that. But the idea is, I'm not in this for myself. I'm not in it for the rich. The people cannot bribe me because I don't want their money. So most politicians, they're enslaved to money. And I was madly in love with money. I was a pro poker player, semi-pro. And I had, I had just math. I love math, and I converted math into money. And then I wasn't in it for the gambling. I was in it for the EV, the expected value. And I could count cards in blackjack. Not that great, but pretty good enough. I would say I could break even at a good blackjack game because I would miss. For whatever reason, I don't have... Well, I do have a good memory for the blackjack chart, but I don't have it like perfect. And I feel like I would have more fun just having like a 1/4% edge versus the 2% edge. So I mess up some splits and double downs, spots that are very strange. Split double, and you have to memorize all of it to be good at that. But the idea is, I understand what the politicians are going to in this life, if you don't have God. Money is the most important thing. I just had a thought, the president should be paid what the American people think he should be paid. So it should scale with his approval rating. So if his approval rating is 0%, you get paid 0. If it's 100%, you get paid double, right? So 50%, you get the 50K or the 400K. So your paycheck is dynamic based on the American people's perception of you. And when people vote approval, they're also sending you money. Like, and when people say no, they're taking money away. Just another thought I had. Real time here. I felt called to do this calling. I was in my kitchen, and I was just sitting there, and I had this thought. Oh, President of the United States of America 2032. Bam, my phone rings. Pick it up, it's Philip. And he's the only person who ever wanted me to be president. He wanted to do it himself, but he said he has too much baggage in the back. And I said, I just picked it up and I was super excited. I was like, hey, Philip, me, president, 2032, I'm gonna do it. He just starts freaking out. Yes, yes, yes. He starts telling his girlfriend, does he have your vote? And that he just believed it as much as me. And when the phone ended, I still thought it was gonna happen. So that's really cool. And then I picked up the Bible and flipped open, and it said, never in all of Israel have I seen someone with such great faith. And it was really both of us. We were so faithful there. And his girlfriend's like, yeah, I don't know about all that. And she's pregnant with his second baby. But it's like, that's a lot of faith. There's 350 plus million people right now, 2025. And a lot of them are over 35. And that's kind of my point too, running. It's like, okay, if I'm not good, show me somebody better. When Joe Biden was doing his thing, no offense to him, he had a long political career. He felt like he was bubbling, mumbling, and I just got an inspiration from that. And I see them as just men who are not spirit-filled. I want to think about it like that. And when I see Latter-day Saints running like Romney, you can tell he's a clean guy. But he wasn't, I don't know, I don't want to, Romney's cool. But I just, they're all better than each other in their own little ways. I'm actually thinking about making term limit 1. I think we're I think we're done with 2 terms. I think it's 1 term now. 4 years. You could find somebody else. You know, you could be VP the second rip. 2 terms is too long. 8 years is eternities. People who like you, great. It'd be nice to have you for a second term, but do something else with your life. You know, it's like, you don't need to be up there that long. It's, back in the day, 8 years was nothing. Now 8 years is so long. So much stuff can happen. And it's like, we don't need the same guy. It's just, and I don't want people making policies and doing things because, well, this might